When I was beefing with him, he would go, "We everywhere, you never there." And it's because I was already in the arenas. So what would I be doing back in the nightclub?
Yeah.
At that point.
I like to tell the people home, I feel so safe tonight with all this police protection courtesy of G Unit. Fat Joe is man. Pussy boy.
50 Cent just broke his silence, and what he revealed, straight up chilling. He's saying Fat Joe tried to get him whacked, not once, but multiple times. And now, Joe's name is showing up in a full-blown RICO lawsuit, and the accusations are straight out of a movie. But this ain't your regular rap beef. Nah, this is deeper. We're talking murder plots, not diss tracks. On top of that, some seriously dark claims are floating around, people throwing around terms like PDF file and accusing Joe of running his crew like a whole crime syndicate. And the one blowing it all up, not some outsider, is Joe's own hype man, the same dude who's been right next to him for over 10 years. Now he's spilling tea like he's been holding it in for a lifetime. So where does 50 Cent land in this mess? Well, we all remember that heated feud between him and Joe. It wasn't just talk. According to this legal filing, Joe actually tried to take 50 out, but 50's security team was airtight, stopping anything before it could go down. But here's the twist. 50 Cent's take on the whole thing, it don't exactly line up with what the lawsuit says. He's now saying it wasn't that deep. Like, hold up, what? If someone really tried to take you out, why downplay it like it's no big deal? Unless there's something he ain't telling us. Fans are scratching their heads, wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. So, let's dive into what this RICO case against Fat Joe is actually claiming, how 50 reacted, and how this all loops back to the old school G Unit versus Terror Squad beef. Cause the deeper you dig, the crazier it gets. This lawsuit's not just about Joe. It might be connected to a whole web of drama that's been boiling for years. And yo, once you look at the names, the dates, and the straight up shocking accusations, it starts looking like something out of a gangster flick. Some folks even saying this mess is worse than what Diddy's being accused of. Yeah, it's that wild. Let's break it all down.
What happened, Daddy?
It's Fat Joe's record. I listened to it. It hurt me. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't care about the money. I care about the money.
So here's where it gets straight up explosive. This brand new lawsuit, filed by Fat Joe's former hype man, Terrence Todd Dixon, says Joe didn't just want 50 Cent to shut up. He wanted him gone for good. According to Dixon, Joe allegedly ordered a hit on 50 back in the heat of their beef, and the plan was to make it look like just another robbery gone wrong. The legal docs are wild. They say Fat Joe was involved in a calculated and premeditated conspiracy to murder Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, somewhere between late 2006 and early 2007. At that time, Joe was living in Miami, and apparently he got word that 50 was going to be at a venue in New York. That's when, according to the lawsuit, Joe gave the green light. He allegedly put in the call and ordered the hit. But here's the twist. When the shooters saw 50's security, they backed down. And we're not talking basic bodyguards. These dudes were built like Navy SEALs. The would-be assassins didn't even try to make a move. Dixon didn't hold back at all in this lawsuit. He claims that Fat Joe flat out told his inner circle he'd been trying to take out 50 Cent for a minute. And when the hit didn't go down, Dixon says Joe was shaking, completely distraught, like he couldn't believe the plan had failed. That's not just some random rumor, if true. That shows serious intent and full-on coordination with folks who were ready to do his dirty work. According to Dixon, the plot was deep. They were tracking 50's every move, using his performance schedule, basically setting up ambush points at public events, waiting for the right moment to strike. This wasn't a one-time thing. It sounds like it was multiple attempts, lined up and ready to go. So when the lawsuit finally hit the headlines, people thought 50 would snap and air it all out. But nah, instead, he shocked everyone. He posted a photo of himself with Fat Joe and played Young Buck's Prices on My Head in the background. Then he dropped this caption: "These baseless accusations and claims are not credible. I'm sorry Joe has to endure the public scrutiny and damage to his reputation. This is a stick-up. I wrote this hook. I should have kept this one." A lot of folks are scratching their heads over 50 Cent's response. Like, is he being sarcastic? Is it a power move? People online are saying, is 50 being petty, or is he actually serious? One comment even hit hard. 50's playing chess. If he goes this route, Joe will be loyal AF because he knows it's true. Sincere? The vibe is confusing. But one thing's for sure, something's up. Sure, anyone can say anything in a lawsuit, but this ain't just some random dude. Dixon had access. He was right there in the circle, claiming Fat Joe ran his crew like a straight-up mob boss. And according to him, that alleged hit on 50 wasn't even the worst of it. Not even close. This is where it takes a real dark turn. Dixon says Fat Joe was involved in highly disturbing behavior, including alleged relationships with underage girls. He even claims Joe paid for a procedure for a girl who was only 15. The federal complaint, filed in New York, is so graphic it starts with a trigger warning, and it's a massive 157 pages long. Dixon also alleges that Joe forced him into humiliating and degrading situations, including during acts that were done under pressure, on camera, and while being threatened with being left behind in foreign countries if he didn't go along with it. He says he was forced to do over 4,000 acts just to stay in good standing with Joe's so-called enterprise. One of the most serious and unsettling parts of Dixon's lawsuit involves allegations that Fat Joe engaged in inappropriate conduct with individuals who, according to the complaint, were underage at the time. Dixon claims he personally witnessed situations involving young females who were reportedly 15 and 16 years old. In the filing, he names 3 Jane Does, each with separate claims. The first, according to Dixon, was a 16-year-old Dominican girl from New York. Dixon alleges that she interacted with Joe in exchange for things like money, clothes, and having her phone bill paid. These claims suggest a troubling dynamic involving power and control. The second Jane Doe is described as a non-U.S. citizen, a Caucasian female whom Dixon says Joe met during a performance abroad. Dixon claims Joe allegedly began contact with her at 15 years old, and that she was flown to New York and Miami on multiple occasions afterward. One particularly disturbing part of the lawsuit alleges that because this girl was still developing physically, Joe paid for her to undergo cosmetic surgery. That detail alone has raised serious concerns. As for Jane Doe number 3, Dixon says she was a Latina girl who met Joe around the age of 15, turning 16. According to the complaint, Joe developed strong feelings for her, so much so that he allegedly considered leaving his wife. According to the lawsuit, Fat Joe didn't just have contact with Jane Doe number 3, he was allegedly funding her whole lifestyle. Dixon claims Joe paid all her bills and even took her overseas during his tour stops. On top of that, he allegedly flew her out to Florida and set her up in a condo just a few blocks away from the home he shared with his wife. At the time, Dixon says Joe was in his late 30s. Dixon also provided photos in the court filing that show Jane Doe number 3 posing with her high school friends. He claims these photos were taken at the same time Joe was allegedly transporting her across state lines. The lawsuit paints a troubling timeline. So, is Fat Joe actually being hit with a RICO lawsuit? Technically, yes. But here's the catch. This is a civil RICO case, not a criminal one. A civil RICO suit allows a private individual, like Dixon, to sue someone under the same law that was originally used to bring down organized crime groups like the mafia. To win a civil RICO case, though, the plaintiff has to do more than just tell a wild story. They need to prove that the defendant was part of an actual enterprise, meaning a group or structured organization, not just acting solo. And that's exactly what Dixon is alleging. He's saying that Fat Joe ran a criminal operation, not by himself, but with help. In the lawsuit, he even names 2 people he calls key players, Pete Pistol Pete Torres and Richard Rich Blair Jer. According to Dixon, these men weren't just associates. They were central to the alleged enterprise. To win a civil RICO case, the plaintiff has to prove that at least 2 serious crimes were committed, like fraud, extortion, trafficking, or even witness intimidation. And not just once. The law says it has to be a pattern, meaning it happened repeatedly over time, not just some one-off incident. RICO laws are built to expose organized systems of crime, not just random wrongdoing. That's why when someone drops the word RICO, it gets taken seriously real quick. Even though this is a civil case and not a criminal charge, yet using the word RICO still hits hard. It grabs public attention, and more importantly, it grabs the feds' attention. Because if there's one thing federal investigators love, it's when someone who's been in the crew for years suddenly flips and says, "I saw it all go down." And let's be honest, RICO ain't new to hip-hop. From YSL to Casanova, and even Diddy's name being dragged lately, the feds are clearly watching the industry. If what Dixon says is true, and this so-called enterprise was operating for over a decade, then people are asking the obvious question, why did he stay quiet so long? 50 Cent called it a stick-up, like maybe Dixon's just trying to cash out. But what actually made Dixon finally speak up after all these years? Well, according to him, it was straight up fear. He claims he stayed silent not just to protect his career, but to protect his life. Dixon says that when he tried to back away from the crew, threats started coming in, and that Joe kept him close because he knew too much. Most folks outside the music scene probably never heard the name Terrence Dixon, but behind the scenes, he was Fat Joe's hype man for 16 years, standing on stage right next to him, tour after tour. Now, Dixon's flipping the whole story, claiming that Joe used power, fear, and control to keep everyone in his circle silent and in check. Now people are wondering, is this really about justice, or is this revenge? The way Dixon tells it, it wasn't one major blow-up that caused the split. It was years of being used, underpaid, and eventually pushed out once he stopped going along with the plan. He says when he stopped following orders, things turned cold real fast. And here's where it gets even wilder. Dixon dragged Roc Nation into the lawsuit too. He's claiming they didn't just watch from the sidelines, they allegedly helped Fat Joe run the operation. In the legal docs, Dixon calls Roc Nation a strategic facilitator of illegal activity. According to him, they either knew what was going on or chose to look the other way. Dixon says he wasn't just a witness, he was one of the victims. His claims include everything from forced labor and financial fraud to retaliation and trafficking. That's way beyond just music business drama. Those are serious federal level allegations. But it's the timing of all this that's really making people talk. Folks are asking, why now? Fat Joe's been laying low for a while, and the real heat lately has been on other major rap moguls. So is Todd Dixon just trying to slide his case into the spotlight while the feds are already watching the hip-hop world? Is this a strategic move to grab a payout? Or is he genuinely coming forward with the truth? Because this isn't just some basic complaint. We're talking about a 157-page RICO lawsuit packed with disturbing claims, even alleging behavior that crosses serious legal and moral lines. And in the middle of all that, 50 Cent's brushing it off like it's nothing. He's acting like Fat Joe's being set up and calling the whole thing a stick-up. That's what's got fans confused. We've seen how hard 50 Cent went at Diddy. He even brought Jay-Z into that mess. He's been ruthless, posting non-stop. And he's even working on a documentary about Diddy's alleged wrongdoings. And Diddy hasn't even been found guilty of anything yet. And when it comes to Jay, 50's been calling him out ever since the first lawsuit against Diddy dropped. Just a few weeks ago, 50 was trolling Jay-Z again, implying he had something to do with the whole Kid Cudi car explosion situation. No chill at all. But now, with Fat Joe in the hot seat and Roc Nation even named in the lawsuit, suddenly 50's playing it cool, no shots fired, no takedowns, just brushing it off like it's no big deal. But maybe that one fan was right after all. The one who said 50 Cent is playing chess, not checkers. What if 50 ain't really defending Fat Joe? He's just protecting himself. Cause let's be real, if Joe did try to put a bag on 50's head like the lawsuit claims, and if even half of these allegations stick, then this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're not just talking about beef anymore. We're talking about full-blown RICO wars. And now insiders are whispering that the feds might not stop at Fat Joe. Some are saying 50 Cent could be next if his name pops up in the wrong way. So what's 50 really trying to keep quiet? What does he actually know? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think 50's playing it smart or hiding something? If you want to stay locked in with every twist and turn, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see it.